What was the point of all that prep work if you're not going to do anything with it? Hey everybody, today is the second part of my goal planning for 2019 series with the Cultivate What Matters Power Sheets, these guys right here. The first video came out a couple days ago. I'll link it up in the cards. I don't know if that's where it goes or if it goes here, I'm not sure. That was where I filled out all of the prep that goes into the Power Sheets, and I filmed it over the course of a week. Now today what you're going to see is what took me about 3 hours on one day. I did some in the morning and some later in the evening to go through the work I did, the prep work, and from that pull what my things to work on, what matters most are for 2019. I also will do all of my prep work in the January section to be ready for the new month. I found this really helpful. I'm not gonna lie, this was very helpful. When I started to think about what my goals would be for 2019, this is actually not, some of them are the same, but some of them are wildly different. I thought I was gonna be focusing on more practical, businessy goals, and what I realized in doing all of this was practical businessy goals are not what I feel most passionate about right now, or I feel like they're gonna be the most impactful on my life. Who knew, man? Like I said in the previous video, this is very personal for me. I am glad to be sharing it because I love sharing personal shit. Apparently that's what I do, but I just wanted to tell you that. Like I said this in the other video and I'm gonna say it again, it's scary to share this personal shit, but I hope that it helps you. Let me know if it does in the comments, and without any more rambling, here we go. I actually already went through and did this first step where you look back on all the work you've already done and look for the threads. And so I'm just gonna kind of show you what that looked like. I took 3 of the new mild liner colors because I think they're pretty and I wanted to try them out to kind of look at different threads. And the threads they're calling like the things in here that keep popping up over and over again. So flipping through here, the threads I noticed popping up the most were about saying no to things, especially extra commitments at church, getting my financial house in order, and spending more quality time with my husband and my kids, not just all being around each other, but all glued to our phones or whatever. Kind of color coded them in that sense. This purpley color was the financial stuff, the pink was family, and the teal was saying no. But there were other threads as well. These are just the big ones that popped out to me. And ironically, as you go through this and see sort of where I've been marking, finances, spiritual and personal growth, and family were the 3 things I thought I was going to need to work on the most. And I should probably mark that as well. So yeah, as of going through here, I just pulled things, worked, like challenges from this last year. I worked and struggled with quality time with Jess and the kids. That shows up a lot. Information about saying no, like this quote right here really stuck out from my head. It is becoming necessary to say no for my own health. That is something I want to keep coming back to because that's really at the heart of it. If anything is going to get me to say no more often, it's got to be my health. I wound up adding a sticker as well as adding the pink here because what fires me up, my family. More than anything else. All of these things too, but my family. And then I marked family here and say no, again with color just to make it pop out. Wasn't trying to make it beautiful, I was just trying to make it obvious. So then I got to check off my box saying when you're done treasure hunting for threads. So this next part here is about naming the threads, which I kind of just did for you, but I'm gonna write them out. What threads did I discover? What stood out to me the most? And then there's some encouragement here in case you feel like the shit you found is kind of mundane feeling, like it's not these big epic observations, but something like folding the laundry more often or whatever. To name them here, and then once you're done naming them, turn them into some ideas for goals. So I'm gonna start working on that now. I've kind of got the 3 main threads that I noticed here, and then I'm going to turn those into some goal ideas, and I'm also going to pull some from the other things on here that I did not highlight because there's some other things that kind of are related, but the big 3, my finances, my family life, and learning to say no, I could probably come up with 10 goals just with those 3, so I'm just going to start getting some ideas here. Okay, so here's some different goal ideas. Now I'm gonna do this thing where why do I wanna spend my time on this? Will this get me closer to where I wanna go when I'm 80? I think actually all of these kind of fit that. Some of them are less fun than others, like, you know, some of the money stuff. Some of these actually feel more like tasks than goals, but maybe I'll be able to look at these and create some goals out of them. Sorry about the light coming in. I've tried blocking it and it's still not working. So we're just gonna, and this is the only time I have to film today, so we're just gonna do this. So this section is simplify, where you take all the goal ideas and kind of group them together into buckets or big picture, like categories basically, so that you can see kind of how they turn into bigger goals. So I'm going to start doing that now. The first thing I'm going to do, I'll just say this before I start going in, like I already have some ideas of what some of these categories are just from looking at these. Two of them have to do with finance, and I'm separating two of them because one of them is like my family finance, my household finances, and the other is my business finances. And both of those things need a lot of love, but they're different from each other. So I'm going to put those here because I already know those are going to be two categories. I know one of these is going to be family, one of these is going to be my health. Work on the rest as I start taking these ideas and other ideas that I've had. I've got a bunch of ideas on here. I have work and business finance, and I feel like some of these could go here and vice versa. But I've got family finance ideas on getting our house in order, business finance stuff on getting that dealt with, family ideas mostly revolving around scheduling time in the future, making time to spend together. And this big one, you guys might have seen this pop up, vacation without family. What that means is that every time we go on a vacation with our kids, it's always to visit family. And I love seeing family, but I also would love to go somewhere with the kids and my husband where it's just us, and we never do that. So that's a big one for me. Going to GA with my kid in June, that's high on my list. For health, the PKD diaries could go under work, but I think documenting my kidney journey has been very therapeutic for me, and so I'm going to keep doing that, going to therapy, drinking more water, and incorporating more aspects of the sadness diet, something that I've been really kind of lax about because my numbers have been okay, but they're not going to be okay forever. Better to start now than to have to deal with all of it at once when shit goes kerflooey, you know what I mean? I put Jesse as a category, even though kind of I've been putting him and the kids together, but honestly, big thing here, going on a honeymoon, or at the very least saving up and beginning the process of honeymoon. We don't even know where. We have an idea, but not really. Simplified life is kind of how I put my church stuff. It could be more than church, but for now it's basically a couple of ideas I already have, like listing the commitments I have and deciding, can I get rid of half of them? And then there's a big commitment I have every third Sunday that I want to delegate a couple of times before the end of this church year. And then for the 2019-2020 church year, drop it all together. And then never say yes first was an idea I had about when somebody asks me to do something, rather than just saying yes, which is what I always do. I just, hand goes right up before I even think about it. Say, let me think about it, or no, so that I can take time to ponder it before saying yes and deciding, as opposed to just saying yes right away, which is my MO. So my home goals, which are kind of all practical. Some of this, the finances could be part of this, but we still need to finish getting the house painted. We really need to work on the landscaping. I would love to start a garden. This is one of those limiting beliefs, but like I've always felt like I can't garden for shit, but I want to because I want to grow some food because I'm a hippie and declutter my entire life, which might be a bit of an ask. And then for work, a big thing here is about looking at the big picture, figuring out what I can eliminate, what I would like to bring on, setting work hours and sticking to them. I have kind of hours I've set for myself for work, but I'm not great at sticking to them. And then monthly numbers as a habit. In health, I need to add one more thing, and that is pursue non-work related hobbies. These are the action plan worksheets for each of these goals. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the camera off and I'm gonna work on these off camera. And when I'm done, I will show you, I may not show you all of them, but I, at the very least, will show you some of them. There may be some in here that I'm not comfortable sharing for whatever reason, but I would, basically what I'm gonna do is look at this here, look at this, and then go back and look at everything else. And from those, pull these, and I'm probably gonna do all 10 action plans because I feel like I could. I may not though, we'll see what happens. And then when I'm done with these, I will walk you through the ones I've come up with and talk about them so that you've seen kind of how all of this has cumulatively brought me to this point. All right, I'm back and you're noticing that I've got these here. I actually spent part of today filming my bullet journal video, doing the goals. My hand fucking hurts. Taking a break from that so I could argue with my kids and go grocery shopping. And now I'm back to show this and to do the January setup. So the first thing I did was I took these Post-its and I came up with like framing for each of these big picture goals. So instead of family finance, develop a healthy financial practice for my family. You know, again, I'm using kind of the flowery language of this whole situation, but I'm trying to go all in as much as I can to, at the very least, it might seem a little weird now for me, but I really want to commit to this. And if I go in half-assed and kind of cynical, I don't think I'm actually going to finish. So that's what I did with all of these. So let's flip through and look at my filled in action plans. So here is the first one, the aforementioned, develop a healthy family financial practice. I'm just gonna point out a couple things from each of these. I broke down all the different steps and I set up kind of what I wanted to do this next month for each of them as well. My way to celebrate is to actually see if I can pay off the second half. Like we make a pledge every year to our church and it's actually made in July, so July through June. I'm always running behind on it. And so my hope is, my way to actually celebrate this is if we get to the end of the year and we have developed a family financial practice that is healthy and I feel good about it and I've made progress, I'd like to pay off a big chunk, if not the whole second half of the year in December and just get that out of the way. The second one is the same thing, but for my business. Create a healthy and sustainable business picture. And the big kind of takeaway here is I just have to put a lot of systems into place so that I don't have to worry about them anymore and I can just maintain them. And stability and less anxiety, two big takeaways from that. The third one is strengthen our family relationship, because my family fuels me and it has been really rough between how much I work, my health going wacky, my husband working so much and his health not being great, and then both of my kids being teenagers, going through teenager stuff, all of us being on our electronics. And a big theme for this is finding ways to be together as a family without electronics. One of the big things I want to do with them is to brainstorm a bucket list for 2019, a specific one to us. What is it we want to do over this year? And let's see if we can check some of them off. And my husband's contribution, before I even started filling this out, he had suggested that we sit down with our calendars and schedule days off throughout the whole year so that we know that they're coming and we don't have to try and scramble to find time off eventually. This one is my kind of health related goal. Treat my whole self, body and mind, kindly. This really has to do with maintaining my health, trying to do better in places like my eating and seeing a therapist. All of those things are important. And one of the things I actually did, I could check this off already, which is always fun, is making a list of different vegetables and fruits to incorporate one each month into my picky eating that I'm allowed to have, because with my kidney problems, I'm picky and most of the vegetables I like are high in potassium. So I'm gonna have to limit those. So I have to find new ones to like. Number 5, nurture a healthy and loving marriage. Pretty self-explanatory. Big puppy here. At the very least, can we decide where we're gonna go on a honeymoon and save up for it? I'd love to do it this year. We had always told ourselves we wanted to do it before I had to go on dialysis. Well, I'm getting the surgery next week. Actually, by the time you're watching this, I'm recovering from the surgery. No time like the present, right? Foster more quiet space. This was kind of what I came up with saying no. So it's not just about church. It's not just about work. It's about every area of my life. Evaluating the things I'm doing. Are they worth it? And saying no more often so that I have more empty time that I can actually relax or be spontaneous or contemplate or fucking pick my butt. I don't care, but more room in my life. And a big thing also on this is to delegate more stuff like that I can delegate, especially cleaning, not just with the chores my kids do, but potentially looking and hiring somebody to come in here and do the deep cleaning, because I can't get on my hands and knees anymore without hurting myself. And to be perfectly honest, my husband works 10, 12-hour days sometimes. He doesn't have the time a lot of the time. And my kids do cleaning, but to have someone just come in and really like spruce it up would be great. That could be a celebration, but honestly, I think that's part of the process, not the celebrating. Next big picture goal, create an environment I am proud of. This has to do with my home, and a lot of it has to do with, we're homeowners and we bought a fixer-upper. There's a lot of projects. A lot of projects here. That's what all of these are. Same with the hiring, cleaning monthly. It could actually be on here, kind of a doing double duty. In part, it'll be decluttering shit, and in part, it will be taking care of home maintenance. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like, This is a buying things reward, but if we make progress, maybe like a half-year progress, I'd like to buy some new patio furniture, because the stuff we have is pretty cheap, and we only bought it because we knew that we needed something, but we also knew that our backyard looked like a hot fucking jungle mess. And eventually when we redid it, we would want something that looked a little better. And my last one, I did 8 goals. So I'm going to show you all of them. Establish a more balanced work life. Now, I don't think work-life balance exists. I think that you're having to give and take as time goes on. But I'm self-employed. I'm not good at setting limits for myself in general. When I'm the boss, I'm even worse. It's easy for me to allow the computer, the notifications, the email, all the things to take over my life. I spend a lot of evenings working, a lot of weekends working. I would like to be a little bit more diligent about respecting the time I'm not supposed to be working and respecting the time I am supposed to be working, as opposed to blurring the lines of let's work, then go to the grocery store, then work, and then do this. As much as it's nice to be able to do that, it also really fucks my whole system up because it allows me time to procrastinate. This does not count recovering time. This just means trying to identify the things in my work life that are maybe something I should outsource, or figuring out ways to be more responsible with my time. So that's a big thing. And I have as that for celebrating making progress, having dinner at my favorite steakhouse, because I love it there. So I did not fill out the last 2. I might come back to this, I don't know. But right now this feels like plenty. So then I rewrote them here and I used these. I'm gonna attempt the color coding. I don't know if that's gonna actually happen, but I love the color of these. So whether I color code or not, I like having them there for the color. So it's all the same thing, just repeated. Now this is the yearly overview. I started laying this out, but a lot of this I can't lay out without talking to my husband, because many of the things in these family calendar, he and I planning things out, a lot of the stuff in here, it's not just me. I'm not living in a vacuum. So I need to talk to my family and my husband specifically before I can plan this out more. So this is a start, but it's not the whole thing. So that's the whole goal setting. I got through it all. 2 videos, several days, did it. So now, to wrap this video up and this series up, I am going to do my January prep. So I'm gonna make a habit. I have decided that one of the things I'd like to do in YouTube this year, I usually have a bullet journal set up every month, and I usually sometimes have a favorites video every month. I'd like to add a couple more monthly videos. One would be a budgeting video. God, that's part of my goals here. And one would be this section, the monthly, she calls it the tending section, where you tend to your goals. Setting it up, and so each month you will see me doing the evaluation part right here, wherever it is. The evaluation, and then setting up for the next month. I don't know if I'm gonna do this every month. I'm saying it now, but I might decide it gets more personal. I keep saying it's gonna be more personal, but I've shown you damn near everything, so who knows. Anyway, so right now we're gonna kick it off by setting up January. So the first thing we need to do here is the Let It Go page. What's stressing me out? Fears I have, and I am hopeful that. I'm gonna fill these out right now, but I will tell you the big thing that's stressing me out right now is my surgery. By the time when I'm filming this, it's still a little under a week away. That's stressing me out. And it's stressing me out in a couple different ways. It's stressing me out just having to do surgery, like the surgery in general is stressing me out. The pre-op stuff, making sure I get everything right, because I've never had surgery before, that's stressing me out. What's gonna happen with my husband and my kids? Like, are they gonna be okay during the surgery? Are they gonna be fine while I'm recovering? That's stressing me out. I have a sermon to finish writing that somebody else is gonna have to give for me that week because of my surgery. And on top of all of that, I haven't finished getting my work ready for next week, and I need to do that soon. So this is all very pertinent to the very beginning of this month. I can't even worry about stressing out about the rest of 2019 yet, because I'm so worried about this next week. And as for fears, I can tell you right now, a big fear I have looking at all of this is that I'm gonna start off strong and I'm gonna fucking not follow through on it, and then come to the end of the year and regret not following through on it. Big fear there. As for hopeful, I'm hopeful that I will follow through. And that the steps that I'm taking in January, I put this in my bullet journal for 2019. My focus for January, literally just set this up. Lay the groundwork and establish routines to set the tone for the rest of the year. That is what I'm hopeful that right now. I'm hopeful that that is something I can accomplish in this next month. Next page is preparing for January. Things that are happening this month, big important tasks and projects I need to do this month, and goals I'm excited to tend to this month, and travel, relationship building, etc. So actually I'm going to open up my calendars. I have my Google Calendar for work and my home Google Calendar, because that's where all my future planning is, to look at everything that is happening this month. So here's my list. There's a bunch of stuff going on this month, including my birthday, yay me! A bunch of projects that I do need to tackle this month, and some of them are pulled from in here, some of them are just things I know about, things I'm excited to work on this month. My New York trip, I'm very excited about big picture planning, because I feel like that's a piece we've always missed. We talk about going on trips, we talk about going on vacations, but then we don't do anything about it until we get close to when we might have wanted to. Looking into the whole year, and trying to pick out some spots and trying to think about things we could do as a family for the whole year, it might make it so that we actually commit to it. You know what I mean? And exploring new routines. Dude, I'm a hoe for routine. I am obsessed with routine. Routines make me so happy, so the thought of exploring some new ones, while it makes me nervous, because change always makes me nervous, I'm excited too. It's one of the things I love about January, is that that seems to be in the air. All right, this next section is the brain stream, basically like a brain dump. There's some instructions down here. The first thing is to simplify and prioritize. Circle what's most important, star the thing on the list that will take the most time, underline the thing that will most help you get to where you want to be when you're 80, and cross off anything you can skip or move to another month. I crossed off this is actually a church thing, and I could technically put it off until next month, so it depends on if I have the time. Some of this brainstorming can wait if necessary. The things I circled: the daily electronics time, setting up a business spreadsheet, seeing up my husband and budgeting, some work I need to finish, picking the vegetable for January and talk to my family about that, planning out Q1 for my business, and picking days off for the year. And then these things I circle with the highlighter because they actually are kind of the same. The dealing with receipts / getting ready for taxes, which instead of procrastinating and waiting until April like I did before, let's do that this month. And then having a date night, it's on here twice. Obviously I need to do that. I starred this, I had already underlined it, but I actually starred this because this will take the most time. And I underlined the date night because building my relationship with my husband will be the thing that will get me to where I want to be when I'm 80. So the next step is sorting it. Assign it monthly, weekly, or daily using these tips. If it's something you can make progress on in a month, or something more big picture, make it a monthly goal. If it's something you want to tend to a little bit at a time, make it a weekly action step. If it's a habit you want to cultivate, make it a daily action step. Apparently the tending list is also perforated, but nothing else is. If I wanted to like pull this out and stick it in my planner. Instead of quoting or something, I'm just gonna put my favorite encouraging words to tell myself, you got this, dude. So my top priority in January is going to be routines, like setting up routines, which kind of, again, is reflected in my bullet journal as well. So I'm gonna start pulling things off of here and putting them onto this list. I've got items here for my month, for my week, and for my daily. A lot of these things will turn into daily after this month, or daily or weekly, but for now we're setting them up and they're just a monthly situation. I think a big thing to look at here for my daily action items, I'm not doing a ton of habits here. I'm checking my Powersheets daily because that's, I think, important with this. And once we've set a no electronics time, which I don't think I put on here at all, once we set that daily, did we observe that as a household? And then using the Headspace app to try to meditate, that's something that I really want to focus on while I'm so stressed out. As for most of these, a lot of it has to do with just getting my business house in order and my money house in order at the beginning of the year because I'm perpetually fucking behind. I ordered some of these wildcard pages, but they're not here yet, so I'll show you which one I use when I get it. But I feel like I've taken all of this and broken it down into some actual steps, and most of these are doable, but I will, like I said, I will update you at the end of January when I sit down with these. So that's January. That's what my year is gonna be, hopefully. We'll see if I stick to it. My goal, fun, how many times have I said that in this video? My goal is to create a video every month, kind of like what I do with my bullet journal, where I show you what I did and tell you what I'm doing next. Sort of the same thing, show you how my month went and what my next month is going to look like. I'm hoping to make this a monthly thing for 2 reasons. 1, because like I said, I'm an oversharer, I love sharing, and 2, because if I schedule the time to film it, then I do it. I'm good at sticking to my filming schedule. I'm not always good at sticking to my take care of Cindy schedule. Who knew, right? If you have any goals or action plans or resolutions or just something you want to do this year, let me know what it is in the comments. It doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as stop biting your nails. Actually, as somebody who nail bites, that's not simple. Let me know something that you're hoping to incorporate into your life or do this year in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.